So I'm going to talk just a quick few minutes about the Secure Technical Implementation Guide. And what I have up here on my screen is called the STIG Viewer. And this is a special tool that is located in the cyber.mil site. Now, what you'll notice is this particular application looks it's a lot easier to read than pulling this up in a browser. So it gives you basically a database. Now, this particular one is the Ubuntu version of the STIG, and this is the Microsoft version of the one that the lab had you download. There is quite quite a large number, of articles here in this particular database. Different things to fix, different classes of vulnerabilities. But I went ahead and downloaded the canonical version as well, and I can remove that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I downloaded and unzipped that guide. Let's see here. It is in my documents folder under my temp files, and I made a folder called STIG. Right, so I just extracted this file and the other one I downloaded into this folder, and when it told me there were duplicate files, I just said no, don't over extract them, because really what I want is the inside guts inside this folder. So notice that this first one is the Windows Server, and this next one is the Ubuntu version I downloaded. So uh, I also downloaded. Let's see. I don't know if this is back here. I downloaded a tool. Let me show you where this tool is. I was trying to do some searching on this site, and okay, here we go. So this is the document library, which is where the secure technical implementation guides are located. Whether you're looking for software or operating systems, and then this little link right here is the STIG tools and viewing guidance. All right, so I'm gonna click that, and I have the STIG viewer. Right, this is the Windows version. We can have Mac and Linux version. Right, but this is the little program that you download, and when you extract that program, you get this nice little viewer here, which actually pulls in all the data files that are encapsulated into that package in one handy little setup. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the one that we downloaded for Windows, and so notice that I could have all of my different STIG guides loaded in here, and I could pick the one I want to work on, right? I'm going to go ahead and import my Ubuntu version. Right, so here's my folder. I'm going to open my Ubuntu, and here's the next one. Okay, so there we go. So now, right, I have both the Windows version and the Ubuntu version. And let's just say I wanted to look only at Ubuntu, right? So boom, there we go. And I can go through and I can search on this. I can sort it. I can look at the vulnerability. So here's a particular title. Ubuntu operating system must display standard mandatory DoD notice and consent banner before granting local access to the system. Now, if I wasn't in the DoD, right, I could put whatever banner I wanted on here, right? But this is the way to actually do that. So if I could use my own organization's legal message, but here's an example, right, of how I would put this in. So here's my banner message text. You're accessing a U.S. government system, right? Or I could say corporate system, right? And I could change this however I wanted to, but this is the way to actually install it. So edit the greeter file, uncomment the leading #. Okay, and so if I go through and I actually follow these instructions, I will have established a banner message on my system to greet any user that logs in that protects me legally. Okay, um, so that's just one example. We can look at any of these vulnerabilities, and if I work through this, if I were to work through this guide, one thing that I'm going to end up with is I'm going to end up with an extremely secure system. Not a perfectly secure system because vulnerabilities are always being discovered, because things are always being programmed, but it's extremely secure. And so our military uses these guides to build out their systems. So an example of why I might want something like this, obviously, if I were to spin up a server on the web, like for instance, I want to create an Ubuntu server. Well, that server image is not deployable as is in general because there are security vulnerabilities that need to be addressed. So this particular guide is going to get us through that process. And in the process, we're going to learn a lot about system administration. So if I start it, because this particular guide is not only going to give me the fixes that I've run through in managing the system, but it's also going to give me the location names of other tools that I'm going to use to manage the system. For example, in the Microsoft guide, it talks about securing passwords and how I should do that. Right. So right here, just in terms of uh, basically this particular entry that talks about changing a password every 60 days for an administrator account. But if I wanted to use a password tool to automate this, right, I can use the local administrator password solution, LAPS. And this is obviously on domain joined systems. But if I want to find out more about that particular um, piece of software, right, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get to Microsoft document, right? But I can download this application. Right, this is a local administrator password solution. It provides management of local account passwords and domain joined computers. Passwords are stored in Active Directory and protected by an access control list, so only eligible users can read it. Right? This is something that I want to put on my Active Directory installation. How do I install it? Right? Here is the steps to do that. So documentation is critical, and it gives us a reference point to start this process. So before you know it, you're burrowing through a rabbit hole, which is pretty amazing. You learn a lot through the process. Um, and so if you had a particular operating system and installed, you could go through this guide, and it would be pretty amazingly secure afterwards. Um, anyway, I just want to show you this and show you the viewer and actually show you how to load multiple guides in that viewer and go through and analyze and process these. So, I could also use a keyword search. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Notice that since I put in the LAPS, local administrator password tool, I have two. right? That mention that particular piece of software. So, all right.